Hey Browns fans! Here's a quick roundup of the latest news ahead of our upcoming game, so be sure to hit that like button to stay up to date on the latest Cleveland Browns news. We've got some important injury updates for Week 3 that you definitely won't want to miss. We'll cover what's going on with two of our playmakers, T.E. David Njoku and R.B. Pierre Strong Jr. After that big win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Browns are ready to keep the momentum going as we take on the New York Giants. But like many teams around the league, we're dealing with some key injuries that could impact Sunday's game. Unfortunately, it looks like we could be without Njoku and Strong this week. Both players missed practice on Friday, and that's raising serious concerns about their availability. Now, let's break it down. David Njoku has been battling an ankle injury since Week 1, where he caught 4 passes for 44 yards against the Cowboys. He's been a week-to-week performer since then, and missing practice all week isn't exactly the news we were hoping for. Browns fans, you know how tough Njoku is. Last season, despite dealing with severe facial burns, he put up a stat line of 81-8, 82-6 and earned a trip to the Pro Bowl. It must be frustrating for him to be on the sidelines now, especially after a strong start to the season. We all hope to see him back soon. On the other hand, Pierre Strong Jr. is also questionable for Week 3 after missing practice this week. He left the game against the Jaguars with a hamstring injury and hasn't returned to the field since. Strong has had a pretty quiet start to the season, with just 5 rushing yards on 3 carries and 30 yards on 3 receptions. However, with Nick Chubb out, there's no doubt that we need depth in our backfield, and Strong could be a key player once he's healthy. He's seeing more action on special teams than offensive snaps so far, but we know there's potential there, and we're excited to see what he can bring when he's back to full strength. So what does this mean for the Browns heading into Sunday's matchup? While it's a blow to potentially be without Njoku and Strong, there's some good news. Even with these injuries, we're still 6.5-point favorites against the Giants, and the projected total points for the game are 38.5, according to FanDuel Sportsbook. This shows that the team still has what it takes to pull out a win, even if we're missing some key pieces. Browns fans, it's going to be interesting to see how the offense adapts. We're going to need other players to step up, especially in the passing game and in the running back rotation. I hope we see some new faces step up to help us continue to move forward this season. How concerned are you about Njoku and Strong missing Week 3? Do you think the team has enough depth to handle his absences, or are you concerned about our offensive firepower? Deshaun Watson just dropped some wisdom on what it takes to be an elite quarterback in 2024, and it's not just about stats. As everyone knows, offensive numbers in the NFL have been on a steady decline. Teams are scoring an average of just 21.4 points per game this season. Compare that to 2020, when teams were averaging 24.8 points per game, and it's clear something has changed. But why? Some analysts are scratching their heads, trying to figure out what's causing these drops in scoring and quarterback numbers. And guess what? Watson has a pretty compelling theory. According to Watson, the rise of the too-high defense is one of the main reasons we're seeing these lower numbers. He explained that defensive coordinators have been focusing on this scheme to limit big plays downfield. With defenses playing so deep and trying to take away those deep throws, offenses are being forced to work underneath, sinking and burying their way downfield. That could be why we're not seeing as many explosive quarterback plays as we did a few years ago. Watson said, "It's definitely the too-high defense." I think that might have been an emphasis for a lot of defensive coordinators throughout the year. This offseason is just trying to eliminate those throws. Especially with the game going the way it's going with a lot of DPIs, and you can't touch guys downfield for the defense, so it's harder for them. So they try to play a lot of depth and shell too high so they can keep everything down. And Watson isn't alone in thinking this way. Many NFL analysts are echoing his thoughts. The stats back it up, too. In 2019, defenses used the too-high safety coverage just under 27% of the time. But now, in 2024, that number has skyrocketed to nearly 35%. What this means is that defenses are keeping those safeties deep, making it harder for offenses to make those big, game-changing plays we love to see. So how does this affect quarterbacks, especially Watson and the Browns? Well, it forces offenses to be more methodical. Gone are the days when quarterbacks could regularly throw for 300 yards and a few touchdowns without breaking a sweat. Watson himself knows that the game is changing. He explained how this shift is changing what it means to be an elite quarterback in today's NFL. Watson said, "You can get mad at stats and stuff like that, but there are a lot of great quarterbacks out there who may not have the stats that certain guys have, but they win games. And I think in this league, it's about winning games. You want to get to the ultimate championship. Browns fans, you remember how dominant Watson was in 2020, right? He led the league in passing yards that year, but his team still finished 4-12. That's what he means. Elite play doesn't always mean elite stats. Winning is what matters most, and Watson is focused on bringing wins to Cleveland. It's about winning games in this league," Watson continued. "And you have to win games to get those opportunities to play in the playoffs, and then that's when you can get that opportunity to go get that ultimate goal and that Super Bowl ring. So as Browns fans, we have to ask ourselves, what should we expect from Watson going forward? Does he need to throw for 300 yards to be considered an elite quarterback? Or is it more about leading this team to wins week in and week out?" Watson was brought here because he was seen as the franchise quarterback who could lead us to glory after years of searching for that guy. Now, the definition of elite may be changing, and it's more about leading the team to wins than chasing personal stats. Ultimately, Watson's mindset is in the right place. He's focused on winning, and that's exactly what we need in Cleveland. The flashy stats of 2020 may not be back, but Watson could still be the guy to get us where we want to go, the playoffs and beyond. Do you agree with Watson's take on what makes an elite quarterback? Are you more focused on seeing wins than big passing numbers? We have something exciting to talk about now, a big win, but not on the field. We're talking about the front office, analytics, and how the Browns are leading the entire NFL. So, let's dive in. ESPN recently conducted a league-wide survey asking NFL personnel which teams have the best analytics departments. The result? The Browns came out on top, ranking as the #1 team when it comes to using advanced metrics and analytics to make important decisions. That's right, the work done behind the scenes by our analytics team is not only impressive, it's the best in the NFL. Out of the 22 teams that responded to the survey, the Browns got the most love in several categories. According to one member of an AFC analytics department, their data collection is cutting edge. The infrastructure they've built over the last decade still puts them ahead of the rest of the league. That's high praise, and it shows how hard this team has worked to build one of the smartest and most innovative operations in the league. In fact, when asked which NFL team is the most analytically advanced, 10 of the 21 voters picked the Browns. Baltimore came in second, but by just 3 votes. That means our Browns are way ahead of the curve when it comes to crunching the numbers and making the right decisions based on data. It's not just about being the most advanced, we also lead the way when it comes to producing the highest level of analytical work and incorporating analytics into our decision-making process. We're talking about everything from play calling to player evaluations to game strategy, all powered by the best data team in the league. This is the kind of cutting-edge approach that can help us find those small advantages that lead to big wins on the field. So, Browns fans, how does it feel knowing that our team is leading the charge when it comes to analytics in the NFL? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay up to date with the latest Browns news. Go Browns!